Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Perry Muse. We're going to be discussing his fantastic memoir, Morbid Thoughts and the Domino Effect, Passing Thoughts During Cancer. It's available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. And people, listen, if you want to gather everything that Perry has in store, do yourself a favor, check out his personal site, okay? It's called perrymuse.com, PerryMuse.com. There you'll find more information on Perry himself, more information on this amazing memoir, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing page. So one more time, that's perrymuse.com. And I will say, Perry was brought to our network by some of the best publishers in the business. Okay, we're rolling with Author Reputation Press today. And if you have a book out there or something that you're really wanting to excel upon when it comes to a literary creation, you can do no better than Author Reputation Press. I'm telling you, contact their fantastic team today and have them take your literary creation to the next level. You can find out more information on them at authorreputationpress.com. And listen, people, it is an absolute pleasure to have Perry here on the line. He is the expert. He's going to be able to articulate it better than I ever could, but I'm telling you, you're in for a treat. Sit back, strap in, and get ready. Perry, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction. Thank you very much for being a guest. How you doing today, man?
Yeah, thank you, Benji. It's an honor to be here.
Appreciate you. Listen, the honor is all ours. I really do mean that. And Perry, as I stated to you on the pre-screening call, as I stated in my opening, I think what you're embarking upon here is profound, man. And I think so many people need to hear your story and really need to get the words of wisdom from the book. Because listen, guys, we're going to scratch the surface here today, but there's so much more that you're going to need to pick up. Perry, without further ado, let's jump right in. Morbid Thoughts and the Domino Effect. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
Yeah, so the title kind of indicates that it may be full of despair, but it's actually the opposite. Everyone has morbid thoughts, whether you have blood drawn at the doctor and they call you and say you need to come back in, or whether you're, approaching an older age, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And it's about the mental, overcoming the mental part of the morbid thoughts, because the mental battle in any part of life is the most important one to win in order to be successful otherwise. And that's the basic gist of the title of the book. So the book encompasses my life, like you said, and it's because I've led a very eventful life, and I've had some death-defying accidents. I was catapulted through 2 windshields in a head-on car accident.
Wow.
I hit a telephone pole doing 110 miles an hour and dove off the bike, went 194 feet across the asphalt. So some things have happened. There's other stories where I probably should have died, and for some reason I didn't, and felt like that there was a greater purpose. And then one day when I was diagnosed with cancer 5 years ago, all of a sudden it wasn't, all of those other things were physical healing, but this become a mental battle as well as a physical battle. And I've become a student of my condition. And at some point, and the domino effect is all of the things that happened that would not have happened had it not been for the cancer. Mm-hmm. And the treatments and things like that. And so I endured 18 surgeries in my life, which is a lot more than most people. And so at some point I realized that, I felt like I had a book and a story to share with people.
Absolutely. Listen, Perry, we could invite you back onto the network to just discuss individual events by this point. My goodness, man. People, I'm telling you, you got to get the book, all right? You got to learn about these individual events that he's talking about, because yes, absolutely, I can easily see how any one of those events could have easily have taken your life, man. I mean, you're a real life Lazarus, right? After these events coming back to life. This is incredible, Perry. I love it, man. Now, you started to go into
Thank
inspiration, and I want to continue on that a little bit more, okay? Now,
Okay.
clearly going through these events, yes, I mean, that's a book in the making. That's a movie in the making. That's a television series in the making. So we had that. But that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take that step and write that book, right? So what was the thought process behind it and really honing it in more? Why were you feeling compelled that the words you were putting down would actually be beneficial to the public?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I was 13 years old, my mother, who's a devout Christian, had a lot of female influences in my life. My older sister, my mother, my grandmother. My mother told me once that she had a vision, and that the vision was I was standing before a large group of people, and I was preaching and teaching and sharing, and I had captivated the audience. And at that time, at 13, I thought, Mom, I'm not going to be a preacher. And so I was arrogant throughout my life, about a lot of the things that happened. Mm-hmm. And when the cancer happened and all the other things started happening, it came to me that maybe my mom's vision wasn't me physically standing in front of a group of people, but maybe getting in front of a group of people to preach and to teach and to share with them and uplift and motivate them through my book. So that's what inspired me to write it.
I love that. I love that. Perry, next question here, man. And I think it's safe to assume, right, the answer to this next one. But I think it's really important for you to come out and for you to say it and really solidify it so we don't have to assume, right? And we go directly to the source. Perry, who would you say is your intended audience with this book? And what is the main message that you're hoping that they receive from it?
Yeah, so I think that my intended audience is anyone who has cancer, who worries that they will have cancer, knows someone who has cancer, that feels like that they don't know what to say, necessarily what to do, what steps, and I want them to be able to give them a pathway and some guidance. And also, this book is a love story. And I say that because I've been married for 31 years, and my wife, I refer to her as Nurse Nyla through the book. She has stood beside me. She has been my caregiver, my inspiration. She never wavered. Her love was just, overwhelming. And she could have walked away. She could have broken down. She could have been depressed, all different things. But she was another woman that was a source of motivation. So I think that, if your loved one is diagnosed with cancer, a lot of times it's how do I talk to them? What do I do? What do they need? And I think that my wife is a perfect example of what is the right thing to do. The first thing you do is you love the person. And so I think that would be an inspiration also if you don't have cancer, even if your spouse or loved one does.
Perry, listen, let me hold off before offering a reflection. Guys, again, we're here on the line with Perry Muse. We're discussing his amazing memoir, Morbid Thoughts and the Domino Effect, Passing Thoughts During Cancer. Available for purchase through Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, but make sure you check out his personal site, PerryMuse.com. Perry, thank you very much for sharing the last thing. So many things there. As you, I also come from a background of many amazing and wonderfully strong women. And it really, just hearing you talk, it just brings up that old adage, right, of behind every good man is an even better woman, right, or an even stronger woman, or however you want to categorize it. And people, that statement is so true. Yeah. It's amazing, man. Wonderful to hear that you have that partner in life to be able to weather the storms and go through that together. And that's incredible. And it's a wonderful segue to my next question, because people, as I mentioned, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, PerryMuse.com, you got to pick up the entire book. You got to learn page by page the true story, right, and learn all of the events. But since we have you here on the line, I want to take this opportunity for any of our listening audience right now that knows somebody that is battling cancer, because I think you bring up a great point, because naturally as human beings, when we encounter someone that is going through a challenge or something, we want to assist, right? We want to help. But how do we help in a situation where we don't really understand what you're going through, right? I mean, unless you've had cancer yourself, you can't understand entirely what the person is experiencing. So I want to take this opportunity, Perry. How does one assist someone when they're going through cancer in the best and most efficient manner?
So in my particular case, the one I kept it kind of private to a point, and that's because the one thing that I didn't want is to constantly be asked, "How are you feeling? How are you doing? What because every chance that I got, I wanted to escape from it, do something wonderful with my wife if I felt like it or whatever. So the best thing is to be there for them and not to abandon them. And I actually had people that did kind of abandon me. They didn't know what to do. So what they did was disappeared. And I talk about that in the book, how we found ourselves alone. And I didn't want to be alone, but I didn't want to be asked the same questions every day. How are you feeling? Whatever. I just wanted the love and the fellowship and the friendship and the support, and to know that the people that I cared about and that care about me were there for me. And if I wanted to talk about it, I could, but we didn't have to make that the total conversation every day that we had.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Of course. Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much for sharing. Perry, what would you say was a highlight for you in writing this book, or in this entire journey and process? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you, right? Maybe highlight is the wrong word because of the connotation. But what would you say was something that surprised you?
Well, I'll tell you two things, if you don't mind. One is I would recommend not doing this. I asked my radiologist, based on his experience, what he felt like I had stage 4 cancer when they found it. And I asked him my outlook. And he very straightforwardly told me, "I'll give you a 35% chance to live 10 more years." That was 5 years ago. That has haunted me, and I wish I had never asked that. It was unfair for me to ask it. It was unfair for him to answer it, because only God knows the answer to that,
of course,
honestly.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that surprised me is that you have to be a student of your condition, because you can't assume that all of the medical personnel are always right. And there were accidents, there were mishaps that happened along the way that caused some serious domino effects of things. And so you have to be a student of your condition. And I was amazed at what the difference would have been had I just took everyone's word at face value and not done any of my own research and homework.
Perry, I love that final thing that you said. I mean, listen, I love everything that you said, right? Well, obviously, I think what you're saying, right? Clearly, I don't love what you had to go through. I think let's just put that out there.
Right. I understand.
But I love what you said, man, because people, here's the thing, right? When I was approached to interview Perry, and I'm doing research on his book and just looking at the title, Morbid Thoughts and the Domino Effect, Passing Thoughts During Cancer. So many little words stuck out, right? And it created a very specific vision that I had in mind. And a lot of these things that we're talking about, as we started with, right? Perry said right from the beginning, the title gives like morbid, right? When you hear that word, you think very dark. And of course, the subject matter and the content is dark, right? It's not happy things that we're discussing here. But what came to mind for me when I was doing research and I saw that title, the domino effect, right? It's just consistent things happening. Well, that reminds me of life. When we go through life, and again, we're talking specifically about cancer amongst many other things, but when we're talking about life, adversity is a part of life, right? It's just a domino effect of things, whether it's a close domino effect, which sometimes it could feel like a cluster. Other times things are a little bit more spread out, but there's no denying that there's a domino effect of adversity and challenges and obstacles, and that's life. So we have that. And then passing thoughts during cancer, right? Because it's something, again, similar to the domino effect. It's consistent. It's not ending. Now, again, not solely limiting it to cancer. This is how I interpreted the title. But what is remarkable about that and about hearing your story, Perry, is we know, again, life filled with all of these challenges, adversity, got that. And these are passing times, so it's a consistent. It happens throughout life. But at the end of the day, people, for the past, 30, 40 minutes that I've known Perry, I'll tell you one thing. These obstacles and this cancer, it is not a title. It doesn't define him. Now, these are battles that he has gone through and is consistently going through, similar to life and the adversities and challenges that we face. It doesn't end. It continues. You move on to the next one, but you learn how to weather those storms and pass it on. And because of that perseverance, because of that consistent battle, I look at this book and I'm like, there is such a ray of hope and positivity that comes along with it. And again, we can't shy away from, we can't look at life through rose-colored glasses. Unfortunately, that's not real. That's not real. That's not reality. And there's so much about just in that title, Perry, that I look at this, man. And after hearing you talk, this is a no-brainer. People, I'm telling you, this is a book that needs to be on everybody's shelf. Learn from this story. Take the words of wisdom, implement it into your life. A great gift to add to someone else's shelf. Help them with this as well, whether it's about cancer or not. The book has so much value outside of that. And I think, how could you ever look away? I mean, this is such a valuable resource. Perry, I'm telling you, man, last question here for you, because I want to look towards the future, and this book is amazing and offers so much. But I want to know, man, what's on the horizon? Please tell me there's another one on the way.
Well, to be honest, I have written 2 children's books, and I am currently working with someone. I did all the. I'm an artist by hobby, just like I guess I'm an author by hobby, and so I've written 2 children's books. I have I'm part of a therapy dog team. And so we go to the VA because I'm a veteran. We go to assisted living. We go de-stress students at the college before exams. And so the therapy work and the reading program, we do a reading program where children come into the library and read to the dog. And the children that are involved in that program improve their reading comprehension 3 to 4 levels in 1 year. Wow. Because they interact with the dog and they become very engaged in reading. All of a sudden, reading's fun. And so I've written a children's book, actually 2 of them, and it's one of them is about the dog. I'm not going to give it all away, but about the dog being a therapy dog and a reading dog. And but it's back in the caveman era, so it should be entertaining artwork for children, but also should be, help them understand about approaching dogs and what therapy dog work is and what the reading program is to try to encourage them to read more.
I love it. I absolutely love it. People, you know where you got to go. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, perrymuse.com, and understand the value behind it, because I'm telling you, this is a gift and you need to pick it up. Check back in frequently. Get those other books the moment they become available. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. Perry, this has been a pleasure, man. Such an honor. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Honor for me. Thank you.